Hi, can you hear me?
Jordan, how are you?
Hi, I'm well. Thank you so much for being here today. Before we get started, I just really wanted to say how I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to be my next IKMW Spotlight and do this interview today. I'm grateful. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm happy to
And
be here.
also, I want to congratulate you on all your things that you've done, all your accomplishments and achievements, like your book, I'm Stuck, Now What? Your Girl Affirm Yourself series, and your
Yes.
Girls with Goals, which is
Yep.
incredible. That's amazing.
Yes. I'm going to have you join into Girls with Goals so that maybe we can do something so they can see a young lady doing something major. There's a vast majority of women in that group. Right now, we're a few shy of 700 women. I started the group last year,
Oh,
2019,
wow.
actually. Last year, I started the group. It was kind of one of those things where I was like, I had a vision board event for women. And from that, I was like, I need to birth something that keeps this going, not just one event. How do I keep everyone connected and keep everyone motivated? So from that vision board party last January, um, we formed Girls with Goals. And so we had a few meetups last year. We had a meetup in DC. I do a lot of things in that group, but it's really a motivational group for women who want to come together, network, and do life together. Live and learn. But I am the motivator, and we're now motivating each other. So it's
That's
been a
great.
beautiful ride. Yep.
That's amazing. Okay, now first, let's just jump right into some questions. Let's
All
jump
right.
right into some questions. First off, leading with compassion. What does leadership mean to you? Do you feel compassion is an important attribute in leadership, or why not? And what makes a compassionate leader?
So I'll start with the first question. I think leadership, what it means to me, oh gosh, leadership comprises of so many different compartments. I think in order for you to be a leader, you have to first know that you're called to be a leader. And that means you have to be willing to sacrifice. You have to be willing to be obedient to answering the call of leadership. And I also have come to learn that leadership doesn't really have a whole lot to do with titles, because a lot of people think because they have a certain title, then that makes them a leader. But there are
Yeah,
some keen attributes to being a leader, being obedient. One of the things I have learned as a leader, and I would say some leaders are born, but some leaders can be created over time, through development, but there are some born leaders. I would say that I was probably a born leader. And I say that because I've been leading since I was a little kid.
oh
It was just
wow.
one of those things that was in me. It was like already running in my DNA. It was not something that I was running from. It was something that it was just what I did. And so I'm thinking back to when I was pretty young, maybe in middle school, I was asked to be the president for the student government there.
Oh
And
wow.
I did that. I did that for like my eighth grade year or something like that. And then I go on to high school, and my brother, who is 18 months, 13 months older than I am, he was SGA president. He's 2 years ahead of me in high school, right? And then he becomes SGA president. And then 2 years later, I become SGA president for my high school. And so
Wow.
I had a lot of responsibility. That was even more responsibility because back then, SGA actually had its own class. So every couple of days at a certain period of the day, you go to SGA class, and we put on all kinds of events. I was responsible for running the school store. I was responsible for I mean, even the sports events. I was the commentator on the mic doing all of the football games and homecoming and spirit week and all of this and all of that. And my picture was right when you walked in the lobby. It was the center picture alongside the
Wow.
principal and everyone else.
That's incredible.
And so I think some leaders are born, I think, but you can also be developed into a leader. But one of the things I think you have to have is you have to have the will to understand it's going to come with sacrifice. You have to have the will to understand you're going to have to be obedient, and you're going to have to make sure without a shadow of a doubt you have a vision. You're a visionary person. You can see beyond. You're leading the pack. You're not leading from behind, so to speak. And so that's the first response to the first question, I would say. And it means everything to me. I believe leadership is key in any area of your life, in every area of your life. It's not limited. You know, whether you're working at Taco Bell at the drive-thru, there's leadership required, or whether you're the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, it is so important and vital. And one of my favorite quotes, I've heard this and I like it, is good leadership is a blessing and bad leadership is a curse. And that's something that I live by. I make sure that I'm being a blessing. I don't want to be in a position where people see me or view me as someone that's bringing havoc to their life. You know, I don't believe leaders can be, what's the word I'm looking for? They can't really be as good without their team. So you have to have the teamwork. You know, you don't lead on an island by yourself. You know, you don't lead that way. You lead with a team. And that's where compassion comes in, right? And so you have to have compassion. You have to have compassion. That is a part of leadership. That's one of those attributes of leadership, having compassion for other people, respecting other people, you know. But I found that was probably my hardest lesson in leadership, was making sure that I was showing compassion beyond the work, beyond what people are required to do for me. You know, people have families, they live everyday life. You know, they have loved ones that may get sick. They have different things that they're dealing with. Right. And so I'll say, even in my last job, I was a manager, I was a leader in a capacity, and I had to show great compassion for my employees. You know, they were sick, they had sick kids. I've seen people lose their spouses. I've even lost one of my employees to death.
Oh, wow.
So I've seen it all. And so compassion is key. It'll keep you in leadership. It'll keep the longevity there.
Yes,
Yep.
I love that. Thank you. Second question, serving with a purpose. Does serving others result in a stronger sense of purpose and meaning in life? Why or why not?
Oh gosh, so purpose is one of those words. So the title of my book is actually I'm Stuck Now What? And the subtitle is How to Pull Yourself from a Pit into Purpose.
Oh.
Purpose is one of those things that I think everyone is looking for and searching for. It's almost become cliche. But what people do not pay attention to, or recognize, should I say, is that purpose is tied to identity. If you know who you are and you know whose you are, then you're easily moving in your purpose. You know what you were brought on this earth to do. God has given you an identity. He has already called you, whatever it is. He has already said, this is what I want you to do in the earth. And so it's very closely tied to identity. You know, they go to me like hand in hand, maybe twins or maybe close first cousins. Identity and purpose, they go very close, hand in hand. So I think, yes, purpose is one of those things that we have to have at the forefront in our life. We have to be motivated by that. We have to decide that we're going to stick with that purpose and see it through, because it's easy to have purpose and passion, but they're very two different things. I can be passionate about singing like you are. You love to sing, right? You
Yeah.
know, but you may have a purpose to do something different in an engineering capacity where you're going to open up doors for other women, minority Black women, to walk into that level of information, understanding, education, revelation. You know, that would be your purpose, but you have a passion to sing, you know,
Yes.
so we have to make sure that it's a thin line. It's a very thin line. So live with purpose. Know that it's tied to your identity. If you don't know who you are, then it's no way you can know your purpose on the earth.
Thank you. I love that. Thank you. Next question. Being faith driven. What does having faith mean? And what does being driven mean? And is your fear driven, or are you faith driven, and why?
I'm absolutely faith driven. I wish you can see right here beside me, I have a whole little display with some books, a shelf, and very top, it says faith. It says faith. Actually, I have another sign in the basement that says faith. Faith is absolutely it's the driving force. It's the you got a charger, these Apple chargers, and then you have this little square compartment that gets plugged into the wall. And you take your cord and you put it into that little square little dot thingy, and you put that into the wall. Faith is the connector. If you don't have that adapter piece, it's not maybe the cord, but you need that adapter to connect you to the Father. And God has to be your number one priority. Without him, again, you don't know. And without faith, it's impossible to please God. So how are you walking in purpose? If you are actually confused, you don't know who you are, you don't have purpose, you lack identity in God, and you don't even know where to start, there's no way you can have faith. But faith is the adapter. It's the charger. It's that thing that you need to keep you driven, to keep you going, to ensure that, hey, I'm here. I'm working for a reason. This is happening in my life for a reason. I have a greater calling. You put your faith in God. You put your trust in God concerning everything, and I think that's a key that has played out in my life. I can tell you, faith, because without it, you cannot be a visionary. Without it, it's like, what am I looking forward to tomorrow for? I don't even know what I'm doing today. So right. It's that piece that keeps you driven. It's that key piece that keeps the vision in frame, and putting that trust, not in yourself being so great. A lot of self-made people these days with social media and all of that, but really having your faith in God and who God has called you to be and what he has called you to do. That is the importance of faith. It's a requirement. It's a prerequisite.
Yes. Yes, thank you. Okay, now integrity. What is it? What is integrity, and why is it important? And tell me, why should you never compromise your integrity?
Wow, integrity. Wow, that's a big one. We don't see a lot of it these days.
That's true.
Living in 2020 and COVID, this has been an unprecedented year. I think most people never thought they would see anything like this in their life. I didn't. And so we're living in times right now where integrity is needed at an all-time high. For me, it means everything. Your word is your bond. Who you are, your makeup, your ethics, What are your morals? What are your values? All of that makes up integrity to me. You know, for me, that is key to any form of leadership. That is key in every area of your life. Without it, how can people trust you? Without it, how can God even trust you?
Right.
What is he trusting you with if you have no integrity? If you say one thing and you do another, if you look one way but you got a different motive behind it. And so it's extremely important to have integrity. We have to lead with integrity. We have to do everything with integrity. You should never compromise your integrity, because your integrity is the key that unlocks doors for you. It's one of the keys on the key ring when you get to the big house that you have to have. Because if people don't know you to be a person of integrity, if they don't know that you're a person that has morals and ethics, and that what you say you do, they can't trust you. They're not going to help to advance you. They're not going to open doors for you. They're not going to let you in. They're going to put you right back where you belong, which is in an untrustworthy state. So
Yes.
integrity is everything. We need it. We need it now more than ever. We need integrity in leadership from our country, the countries around the world. We see lack of integrity in some leaders. You know, that's the worst thing. That's the worst thing, to have a leader say one thing and do another, you know? So integrity is the key. That's the key to the big house, you know? That's the key. When people can hold you and say, I know this about this person. I can trust that this person is able. I can trust the ability in this person. I know that they're a person of their word. You know, that goes a long way. That is currency. That's more than money. More than money.
Yes. Okay. Next question. Your group's the Girl Affirm Yourself series and Girls with Goals. What was the purposes for each of them and why?
So I talked a little bit about Girls with Goals earlier, but for me, it was just time that I did something more formal than what I've always been doing privately. I've always been the girlfriend who planned all these events. You know, when I was 26, I had a makeup and heels party, you know, and I rented out this big place in DC, and I had women come in and getting makeup done and getting their bra measurements. I had all kinds of things that I would just do because I like bringing women together. I liked pouring into women. I like women putting themselves first. I'm very pet peevish about, if that's the word, about self-care. I see a lot of women not taking care of themselves or putting themselves last. So it's always been in me to just do things for women, just whether it was motivational things or any of that. And then I forgot what, 35, when I turned 35, just a few years ago, I had an event at my home just for 21 of my closest friends, of close girlfriends. And it was parties with the planners. And literally, I had an entire planning session on setting goals, using planners to organize your life for the year. My birthday's in February, so I was able to do it earlier in the year to help set people up for a more organized lifestyle. And from that, people just always say, Sabria, you know, what's going on? What are you doing? You know, all of my girlfriends. And so it was just kind of time for me to take it to the next level. And here we are with social media, Facebook and Instagram, and now Clubhouse and Periscope and all these platforms. And I said it was time. It was definitely time. So Girls with Goals is such a motivational place and a place of inspiration, not just for the women, but for me. It encourages me personally to be an encouragement to other people. You know, I love when I get private messages or text messages or cards in the mail, letters, I mean, honestly, from women saying, my life has changed, I thank you for this group. I thank you for what you pour, what you do here. I'm achieving goals. A woman last week just posted, she's 57 years old, and she posted herself in her college graduation attire. And
Wow.
she said she has 3 kids. She's a grandmother. She's married. She also has 2 kids, I believe, in college, and she went back and got her degree.
Oh my
That was a
goodness.
goal that she has had. And this just last a couple of weeks ago, this month of December, she graduated.
That's
She graduated
amazing.
with her degree. And so it's
Oh.
those moments that make it worth my while, make it worth the sacrifice. I post every day. I like to be up and current. And then we do these monthly things. I pick times out the year to focus on different topics. When COVID first kicked off, I did a girl chat series, and I did about 7 interviews.
Oh wow.
One of them was on just my favorite things that I liked during COVID. And then I interviewed women who had businesses. I interviewed hairstylists. All these women are in the group. They're all
Oh
a part of
wow.
Growth with Goals.
That's
So it's some
amazing.
amazing women in the group doing amazing things. We have, doctors and lawyers and professionals, and so I
Hmm.
interviewed so many women in the group. We did a mental health series off of that. I brought in someone who is a mental health specialist who is in the group, a woman who's in the group, and she did it. We did a whole interview, and so I interviewed them. And so I like to highlight who is amongst us. It's also acts, those type of groups, in my group in particular, it acts as a resource,
Mm.
And so the end of the year was coming. So much is going on in the world, and I had taken a little break from off of social media. And when I came back on, there were just certain things before I came back on, God had laid on my heart to do. And because we couldn't physically do a meetup or hang out, and some of that stuff really got tossed around because of COVID, God laid on my heart again. He reminded me about doing the girl affirm yourself, and so I was thinking I would just do it myself, because I've been doing everything myself for now over a year. And God said, no, I want you to bring some other women along with you. Find at least 6 other women in the group to get them to say yes to every day they are assigned a day to give an affirmation to the women in the group. So we have been doing that all month of December. Every
Oh
day
wow.
at 11 a.m., you can tune in for either a live broadcast or a pre-recorded broadcast from one of the women, one of the 7 of us, to be affirmed. And the words that have gone forth this month have been incredible. It's been such a blessing to be a part of it. It's been such a blessing to eat from it. It's fed me. It really has motivated me. It was a message today from yesterday, from Naja. She's one of the, Smitty has been upgraded. Okay, sorry. She has she gave a message yesterday about restoration, and how God will restore us as women. We don't have to go out and seek vengeance on people, and all of these just wonderful messages of encouragement all month long. So I have been excited, and that's really the birthing for me of Girls with Goals. Also, what I love to see, even from this, some leaders are being birthed out of this. Naja, and I'll mention her again, she has not gone live before on Facebook.
Wow.
And this has pushed her because she has a business she's working on. She's getting ready to launch. She is a grants specialist. She knows nonprofits in and out. And God has called her to do that. And she was hesitant because she's never been on a platform online. And
Mm.
so I said, you're going to be on now. You're assigned every Sunday the month of December. She was kind of like, I don't know. And now look, she's blossoming. She was on Clubhouse last week with a group of women talking about nonprofit businesses and how to get grants and all. I mean, not nonprofits, grants is her specialty. And she's done a panel on that. She's connecting with people all over the place. And she actually thanked me last week, like, if you had not told me to do this series, Sabria, I wouldn't have been ready. But
wow.
I didn't see that she was ready. I was saying, God was saying, through me, it's time. So it's not about me. The group was not created for me. It was not a hype party for Sabria. I don't need that, I tell people I don't look for a spotlight. I was born with one. So I'm not looking for a spotlight. God gave me my spotlight when he thought of me, So for me, the group is for the women. It's for those women and their families. It's to motivate them to know that they can keep going every day, no matter what's going on in the world, in their house, in their health, in their finances, So I'm just blessed that God gave this to me. It has certainly been a sacrifice. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. It's not anything that I get paid for, it's just out of, this is my ministry. This is my seed. This is what I sow. Yeah. It's been awesome.
That's amazing. I love that. Okay. Last question for you. Since I know that you are an author, your book, I'm Stuck, Now What? What was your inspiration or motivation for writing your book, and why?
So my book is right here. I made sure I bought a copy of it.
Oh, wow, nice.
and I wore my t-shirt. I don't know if you can see it.
I can see it.
Unstuck.
Yes, I can see.
I wore it today. I was like, maybe I should put my t-shirt on. But this really, when you talked about faith earlier, a few questions ago, my book, me being an author, a published author, self-published author, was all in faith. It was a faith walk. And what I mean by that is I never knew I was going to write a book. I didn't plan to write the book. The book decided to write me. And God's penmanship was what I used. I literally was supposed to be in Brazil for my birthday. Wow. I had a trip planned. I had tickets purchased. And long story short, I couldn't get into Brazil because I needed a Brazilian passport that would not arrive in time for me to still go. And so I had already taken off 2 weeks of leave from work. And God said, go to the spa then. So I went to the spa. And when I was sitting in the spa, literally relaxing, eyes closed, enjoying myself, God said, you're going to write a book. And here's the book title. And he gave me 5 titles of chapters for the book right there. I went and grabbed my cell phone. I started typing out what I was hearing God say to me. He said, I'm stuck now. What? How to pull yourself from a pit into purpose. I wrote it down. I text someone at the spa who I knew more about self-publishing or publishing a book. They gave me a little insight in the text and I was like, okay. And March, I started writing. And the rest is history. I from a book, you can't just write a book. So I had to create a website, and I had to launch the book and market it and everything. And so that August, I launched my book in Dallas, Texas. I didn't launch it here in Washington. I had a book launch there. I sold out. I think I came with, hundreds of copies. I think I came home with 20 copies. So the book did very well. And then I did a book signing here in Washington, D.C., which was great. And the book has done extremely well. I mean, I know we've sold well over 600 copies at this point. While I was writing, the crazy thing is, God said, you're going to start a business and do business consulting. And so I also started a business consulting on the side as well. So I had been doing that anyway, kind of informally. So now it's more formalized, and my website, you can find sabriamathis.com. That's where you find me. That's where you find out about me. You can look up the products, and you can also click there if you're looking for me and Girls with Goals. We're on Facebook. So much was birthed. It wasn't my motivation. It was God's desire and his timing. And I was obedient. That's what leadership is about. I was obedient, willing, and I worked and did it immediately.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yes.
You have so many accomplishments.
Oh,
That's
wow.
amazing. Okay.
Well, thank you.
And for a final thought before we end this interview today, if you wouldn't mind, do you have any words of encouragement for people throughout this pandemic today who are down or have lost their jobs and stuff and things of that nature that really need some encouragement right now?
Absolutely. If anyone is feeling down or feeling out, they're wrestling with what they're going to do for 2021. They're still in a pit about what happened in 2020. What I would say to them is get up, and get up now, and get up quick. Your life is not over. God is needing you to pivot. He is needing you to do something different. He is needing you to see something lighter and brighter. He needs you to decide, this is not where I'm going to stay, because this is not it for me. So get up quickly. Be encouraged that there's more for your life. There's more for you. God has more for you. So how can your life be over? So that's what I would say. Really simple. Get up. Start today. What changes are you going to make? Look up resources for what you know you're called to do. But first, pray. Ask God. If you're in confusion, ask God, what should I be doing? Why do you have me in this state? How did I end up here? What is it that you want from me? What do you desire from me? That's where we are. That's where people should have their mind. 2020 has a lot more to come. The world has flipped itself upside down, and we don't know what's coming. But what we need to do is make sure that our faith is our foundation. God sits on top of that. Our foundation is sure. And so nothing else is really shaky. When things are, you still have a firm foundation. That is the most important thing in this time. And so my prayer is that people will get up quickly, be obedient, run, figure it out, understand that there's more for your life. God has more for you, and your life is not over. In fact, it may just be beginning.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much again for saying yes to being featured as my next IKMW Spotlight for this coming month in January. It has been a pleasure. I'm so glad I got to talk to you and see you today. I hope you guys are doing well over there. And stay safe. I hope you guys are staying safe and have a great rest of your day and week.
Thank you. And Jordan, we're excited about everything you're doing. We're excited about your future and what's to come for you. There's going to be so much greatness coming your way. So you keep at what you're doing. It is super smart of you to start something while this pandemic is going on, to encourage other women, encourage people around the world, and more is coming for you. So walk in your purpose. Walk in your purpose and walk boldly. Don't be afraid. There's much ahead of you, and it's so bright. Your future is so bright. And so I'm excited to be here. I could not say no to this. I take this just as serious as anything else. I think it's wonderful what you're doing, and you're getting started at the age that you're getting started, when a lot of young people are doing all kinds of other things. Look at you. You should be proud of yourself.
Thank you so much.
And I'll have you over Girls with Goals. I'll have you over in Girls with Goals. So you can kind of share a little bit. I'll think of something brilliant.
Thank you so much. That's amazing.
Yes.
Well, thank you again so much for being here today for this interview. And
you are welcome.
Talk to you soon, hopefully. Okay.
Yes. We love you, and we're proud of you. Keep going. Keep going.